maybe. There we go. All right. There's a disclaimer in your notes. You all should have a copy of the notes that this presentation isn't meant to diagnose or treat, and the FDA hasn't reviewed it and approved it, so now we're in compliance with the FDA. Okay, so here's some statistics for you. They're very, very interesting. There's 62 million cases of the common cold every year. It's normal to get a cold. It's normal to get sick. Anyone that never gets the sniffles and never gets sick, that's a red flag. Something's wrong. But you shouldn't be down for the count. You should be able to get sick, get over it, and get back to work. Those of us that, we have sort of two different camps of people here at the store. Some of us are really trying to follow the more holistic way of doing things, and some of us are eating at Kentucky Fried Chicken and McDonald's and partying every weekend, and it's everyone's choice what they do. What's really interesting is the people who take care of themselves and don't go crazy about it, but take care of themselves, usually don't use their sick days. And our sick days, you can either use when you're sick or you can use them for fun things. And so a lot of people use up all the sick days and some of their vacation time for colds and the flu or stomach problems. And that really isn't necessary.
Why would it be a red flag if people don't get the colds and the flus?
Well, I'll show you as we go. Well, right here, children have 2 to 6 colds a year. Adults usually have 1 to 3. But a cold could even be that you have a stuffy nose, you don't have 100% energy, but that's as far as it goes. That means your immune system's working. And it's keeping you from getting overwhelmed, and then you bounce back a day or two later. Or if you get the flu, you're not out for 14 days. You might be out for 3 or 4 days and you bounce back. So someone who their immune system never reacts to anything, that isn't normal. You know, we should be exposed to things. There's a lot of sick people around. That was a good question. Okay, healthy adults may be able to infect each other with the flu virus starting a day before they have any symptoms. So just staying away from sick people is great, but you've already been infected. Now, another interesting thing, if you look at in schools or at work, if there's maybe 20 of us here, if one of us has the flu or a bad cold and infected all of us, we all touched the same thing, we didn't wash our hands and all that, about a third of us would get sick and we wouldn't feel good for a day or two, but you'd still be able to function. A third of us would get very sick, get the fever, the aches, if it's the flu, the chills, be bedridden for a week, take a week to get your energy back. And a third of us, nothing would happen. So basically the third that nothing happened, their immune system worked great. The flu bug bit them and it clobbered it and got rid of it. The people who got a little sick, their immune system's working fine. It got a little overwhelmed and then it jumped in and got them healthy. And the people who got really sick, something's going on because their immune system responded, but it got overwhelmed and the bugs got them. So that has pretty much been, it's about a third, not exactly. But if you think about it at work, there's somebody sneezes, they get sick. They catch everything. And then there's other people that never seem to catch, half the offices out and they just keep on plugging. And so you really want, if you can keep your immune system up, you're really doing well. Children can pass the flu virus for more than 7 days before they show symptoms. Flu season's unpredictable. Over a 30-year period between 1976 and 2006, flu-associated deaths were about 3,000 on average per year. And one year there were 49,000, which was a terrible year. 158 children die each year from the flu. So then there's a whole discussion, which would be another whole lecture. So do you get the flu shot or not get the flu shot? That's a personal choice. I used to get a shot every single year. I stopped when I went to college just because I was lazy and didn't want to drive to the doctor's office. My wife hasn't had one since we got married, and my kids are in their mid-20s. They've never had a flu shot. And to the best of our knowledge, we've never had the flu. We've been sick, but we've never been out for more than a day or two. But you can't just not take care of yourself and not do anything and expect to stay healthy. So the flu shot, you should discuss it with your doctor. The flu shot could be helpful. A lot of years it's the wrong mix in there. So if you didn't get the flu last year or the year before, odds are you weren't going to get the flu anyway.
Hey, you're Dr. Corvo, the Alberta Top Dog.
Yeah, I am.
I love your YouTube videos.
Oh, thanks.
So I was wondering, what is the proper way to wash your hands?
Well, that's a very good question. Why don't I show you? First, turn on the tap and get your hands nice and wet.
Sweet.
So next, put some soap on your hands and get a good lather all the way to your wrists, and make sure you get also between your fingers and under your fingernails.
How long am I supposed to do this for?
At least 15 seconds. You can sing a song like Twinkle Twinkle Little Star, which takes about the same time.
Twinkle.
Oh, you don't have to do it out loud, you can do it in your head.
Oh.
So next you rinse under the tap, because remember, soap doesn't kill the germs, it just lifts them off your skin and you can wash them down the drain.
I didn't know that.
Now you take this paper towel, dry your hands with it, and use it to turn off the tap. And that's it.
Wow, that's easy. Thanks.
Well, good luck to you.
What a great guy. Hey, Top Dog, wait up.
Okay, so one,
Well, and they should use the towel to open the door.
right. You notice a lot of bathrooms now have a trash can right by the door.
Yes.
And at first I was thinking, that's stupid, the sink's way over there, but it makes sense. You use the same paper towel to open the door. I don't know about women because I don't go into ladies' rooms, which is probably a smart thing. But men, I hate to say it, I think Kevin will agree with me, we're pigs. If over half the guys go to the bathroom, they open up the stall or they zip up after the urinal and they walk right out the door. They don't wash their hands. And so then you grab the knob. So you just washed your hands and you go to get out, you grab the knob. So you have to wash your hands right. You have to wash them for a while. And like the doctor said, you don't need to be using antibacterial soap. That's causing a lot of resistant organisms. Plus, the triclosan, which is in most of the antibacterials, kills all the good bacteria. We have billions of bacteria on our skin that protect us. And so if you wash all those bacteria off, you're gonna have skin problems. And it's because you're too clean. You got rid of the good bacteria. So washing your hands is important. Probably not singing Twinkle, Twinkle, Twinkle in the bathroom. They'll come with a butterfly net to get you, but very, very important. Another thing, eat well, get a good night's sleep, exercise, and enjoy life. Keeping stress and toxins out of your life. So that's eating good food, not fast food, not chemically laden food. I've been seeing in the newspaper a lot, the government now is looking at the antibiotics that's put into the feed of the cattle and the chickens as a preventative, and they're saying, boy, this isn't a good idea. Where were they the last 20 years? But that's starting to come out. But besides good food and a good night's sleep and exercise, bad relationships or negative thinking is very toxic to the body. And we had a lecture, I don't know if any of you were here, it's on the website, on the adrenals. The adrenals have two basic things that they do. It's fight or flight for survival and feed and breed for nourishing and reproduction. And when you're stressed or you're not getting a good night's sleep, your immune system goes down. You know, my mother, and I'm sure most of our moms always said, make sure you get a good night's sleep or you'll get sick. She didn't know about the adrenals or any of that, but she knew if you don't get enough good sleep, your immune system goes down, you get sick. So this is really the best way to prevent getting sick this winter. Eating healthy, eating real food, raw food, cook it, don't microwave it. When you microwave it, you kill a lot of the good bacteria and the enzymes, and you destroy some of the vitamins. Getting exercise, you don't have to go out and run a marathon, but we were meant to be moving. That gets our immune system up. It helps us lower stress level and settle down the adrenals. It also, believe it or not, helps digestion. As the muscles are moving, things move down. So very, very important. And then enjoy life. Do things that you enjoy. If it's doing a crossword puzzle, or even if the day gets a little bit nice, sitting out on the front step with a newspaper and a cup of coffee, if that's what you enjoy doing, that can only help lower stress and help your immune system. So now we're having a quiz, okay? First question, you're only contagious when you don't feel well. True or false?
Oh.
Boy, what a good class. Okay, stress increases your risk of coming down with the flu. I just gave you that one, that doesn't count. Fever should be controlled by either acetaminophen or ibuprofen to assure the comfort of the patient. Okay, if you have a real high fever, then it's dangerous, you want to bring it down. But the body activates the immune system around 100, 101 degrees. So as your temperature is going up, that's the body trying to raise it up, activate the immune system, and kill whatever the invader is. So what we usually do is around 99 to 100, we start getting a headache or feel achy. We live on an acetaminophen, keep the temperature down. And that really doesn't help. Some old time remedies, they used to, and now it's coming back. If you take an adult, or let's say a child, give them a nice warm bath. Take them out of the bathtub. While they're wet, put them in some 100% flannel pajamas, long pajamas and 100% cotton socks, so they're damp. Toss them in their bed, 3 or 4 blankets, a comforter, even snuggle with them. The body cranks the temperature way up to warm it and to dry it off. They'll be dry in no time. The temperature usually goes up, hits 101, and then comes back down, and that helps. Another way to do it is not to get them out of the bathtub, but to take the cotton socks, wet them, wring them out, and put them on, and then put some wool socks over them. And the same thing can happen. And so what you're doing there is trying to activate the immune system instead of shutting it down. The problem is, when my kids were little, I sort of had a problem putting them into bed with damp clothes on, because it's it's sort of counterintuitive. But it works. It really does. So try it on yourself one time if you're coming down with a fever.
Is there a certain fever that's dangerous for an adult?
Well,
or for a child?
everyone's different. 100, 101, not bad. When you start going above that, you should definitely get in touch with the doctor. Or even if you have 100, 101 for days, that's something's going on. So you want to have that checked out. And it could just be the flu. I don't want to say just the flu, but it might have to run its course.
But can it do anything bad to the brain if it's like 100?
High fevers, and kids can go higher than adults. I wouldn't want to be sitting with a baseline of 103. So probably 101, I would start calling somebody. Here's some information, and you have it in your handout, on how to tell the difference. People want to know, how do I know if I have a cold or a flu? Do I use oscillococcinum or cold calm? And one of the main differences usually is the flu hits you like a freight train. It's all at once. You're feeling good, you're feeling awful. And you have aches and pains throughout the body. You could ache with a cold, but the flu, every joint, anyone had the flu, every joint in your body aches. The cold usually has more nasal problems, congestion up here. You can have that with the flu. Colds, you almost always have it. You're tired in both of them. You have a headache with the flu. But the cough, fatigue, the fever, and the chills, you're under 3 blankets and you're shivering. That most likely isn't a cold. You have the flu. The cold, usually you feel it coming on and you think you're gonna be better tomorrow, and tomorrow you're worse. The flu, you will find at 11 o'clock, and at 2:30, you have to go home and get into bed. So there's some info. What can you do for it? There's a whole lot of things you can do. The first thing is to support your immune system, and that's the eating well, relaxing, enjoying life, getting a good night's sleep, and eating well, and sipping water. Another thing, make sure you're washing your hands. That's how we really spread most or get infected colds and flu. Before you go near your mouth or your eyes or your nose, wash your hands. All of you came in tonight, you all grabbed the doorknob coming into the store, and so if somebody was sick, anyone that came in after them, odds are you sneezed in the car or coughed and then grabbed. But that's not a problem if the rest of us wash our hands properly before we go near our face. When you go over someone's house or you're on an airplane, that's the best way to get sick, because how many of us walk into someone's house and they're having hors d'oeuvres or dinner and you say, excuse me, I have to go sing happy birthday and wash my hands. Most of us say, yeah, I wash my hands at home. But you touched your car, you touched your keys, you put your keys down in the supermarket on the counter. Who knows what was there before? So really washing your hands, and again, not antibacterial soap, regular soap, like the doctor said, that loosens the bacteria and they wash off. Now the CDC did a study, they got people's hands covered with bacteria and had people use antibacterial soap, like the stuff you buy at the supermarket, and they had them wash their hands properly. And they found the people who washed with regular soap and water and did it right had fewer unhealthy bacteria on their skin afterwards than people who used one of the sprays or one of the hand sanitizers. So you don't have to be using that stuff.
Gary,
Yes,
when you say wash them right, what do you mean?
what the video did. You
Oh,
want
I
to,
missed that,
oh,
sorry.
okay. You want to wash for 15 seconds. You want to do all the way up to your wrist, get in between the fingers, the back of the hand, get soap under the nails, and then rinse it well. And then the real key was then get the paper towel, dry your hands, and use the paper towel to shut the water off and open the door. So you know, now I see most of the bathrooms have the sensors for the water, the paper towel, the soap, so they're trying to eliminate touching everything. There's a bunch of supplements and things you can take for prevention and if you get sick, and we'll go into that. And there's no right or wrong. Some people prefer herbal products, some people like homeopathics, some people, because of medications they're on, can't take certain herbs where homeopathy is safe. Sometimes you do nothing, and sometimes you might have to do 2 or 3 different things. And we'll go into a lot of the different products. There's also a few products that, labeling wise, so through the FDA, they're able to say for maintenance. So it's more of a, you can't use the word prevention, but you can take it through the season. And I'll be getting into it. 2 of the products, the Enzyme Defense and Virus Stop, we have a lot of people, a lot of nurses, a lot of teachers, people in retail use that daily through the cold and flu season. And they find it very, very helpful. You can also use a higher dose if you get sick. We provide at the store the Enzyme Defense we have an open bottle here, and we provide it at no charge to all 50 of our employees. Anyone that wants to use it, they can take it every day when they're here. And again, the people who take it, if we do an unscientific study, they seem to not get as sick as the people are often as the people who don't take it. Yes?
I hope this isn't a silly question, but I know that fever from, say I know that you've heard of gangrene in the
Yeah.
foot. If you get that, there's a red area, and then it turns dark, saying
Right.
poor circulation. Now that will throw up a fever. Won't that fever be much higher than a flu fever?
Yes, but we're talking cold and flu, upper respiratory. We're not talking fever if you have an infection, like from gangrene or an abscess in your appendix.
Thank you.
2 different.
Right. Thank you, sir.
You're welcome. Good question. Okay, there's a homeopathic blend or homeopathic remedy called influenzinum. It's made from the flu virus. The problem is it just came out, and the flu is in certain areas of the country. The reason it wasn't out like the vaccine a year, 6 months ago, is they wait till they see which strains are coming out, and then they make the remedy from the current strains. And that is the one that a lot of studies have been done is on the influenzinum, the 1M. In an adult, it's 10 drops once a month. And that's to help get the body ready to respond if you get the flu virus. So that's been very, very helpful. How many of you have heard of oscillococcinum? The #1 flu remedy in the world, has been for decades. Now in this country, we take a little vial of it, they're little pellets, goes under the tongue, you let it dissolve every 6 hours. It can help lessen your symptoms and shorten the duration. In Europe and other parts of the world, they use a vial a week as a preventative. But we can't say that here. So if you go over to Europe, it would be very good to take this once a week. But on this side of the Atlantic, it must be when you cross a certain part, it doesn't work anymore. Yes?
This stuff pertains to cold and flu. Have you heard of the product called Airborne?
Yes.
If
Yeah.
you feel you've been exposed to flu or virus before you get any symptoms, what about taking
Well, if you look,
Airborne?
good
according to
question.
directions?
If you look at the formula in the Airborne, it's basically antioxidants and vitamins. And so it's a great product, it's excellent marketing, but you can accomplish a similar thing by eating well. Because then you're getting all that stuff every single day instead of not getting it and just taking it when you think you've been exposed or you're getting sick. So it is a good product, but you can do it with food, and food's a lot more fun to eat and tastes better.
I see.
Okay?
Thank you.
You bet.
What if you
yes.
can't take in as much of all the foods that you would want to?
Oh. Well, then taking the vitamins, are airborne if you're going to a place where people are sick. But the other side is if you have your system in balance, you really shouldn't be having a problem. Where I don't like saying this, but we're not a healthy society. The food supply isn't there, the air is dirty, we don't live well. We're stressed, we're up late, we're on all of our electronics till 11 o'clock, we have TVs in the bedroom, and we're under a lot of stress. And then depending upon how old you are, now because our parents, thank God, are living longer, you get to grow up and be old enough to be in the sandwich generation, getting stressed from your kids and your parents. And that's a wonderful thing. Thank God everyone's still here to be with us. But the main thing is lifestyle. The viruses attack people who are vulnerable. And we go back to what I started with, that somebody sneezes in a room, they get sick. They're not healthy. Their immune system isn't working the way it should. And most likely, if you look at diet and lifestyle, there's some issues there's some areas that they could be doing better. Yes?
I just have a question. I'm hearing that sugar feeds cancer. Does it also feed viruses?
Sugar, white sugar and white flour, one of the problems with it is we stripped out all the nutrients. Nature puts in most foods all the nutrients we need for mammals to use that food, to break it down and absorb it and get nourished. We strip it out when we take the outer coating off and make it nice and white. I don't know why we think it has to be perfectly white. So what happens is we're back to nutrition. To use the white sugar, the body has to use a lot of the vitamins from your body, so it's robbing nutrients out of your body. Also, white flour, white sugar, and hydrogenated fat are pro-inflammatory. And if your immune system and the body is working on chronic low-level inflammation, you only have so much you can do in a day. So it takes a little away from your immune system. So you're more prone. So yes, eating a lot of sugar and lousy food can open the door for you to get sick.
What
Yes.
about white rice?
Better off white rice. We stripped off the nutrients. Now that's not to say you have to eliminate all of it. Everything in moderation. So shouldn't eat white flour, white sugar, white rice, have any hydrogenated fats most of the time. But you go out for dinner, you know, you're not going to go out for dinner. How do you know what they're using? But if you behave yourself, when you can behave yourself, the body can deal with some junk once in a while. Our problem is the treats and the white flour and white sugar aren't treats. They're staples, and they should be treats. So if you behave all the time and you go out and have a nice piece of cheesecake and you love cheesecake, don't have half of it, but have a piece and enjoy it. You deserve it. You behaved. You've been really good. So treat yourself. And that goes back to the slide, do some things that you enjoy.
People with anorexia, often you look in their refrigerator and it's all white or yellow food.
Yeah.
Cheese and vanilla ice cream.
The influenza is updated annually then?
Every year.
So you don't carry over what you had from the year before?
Well, if we have a few left over, or like at home,
Yeah.
and I wait and see, every once in a while it's a similar mix. This year it's a different mix.
It's a different mix, okay.
Yeah.
And in Europe, for example, they wouldn't double and take both bacillo and influenza
You
as
can.
preventative, would they?
You can. It doesn't do it. They work differently.
Okay.
Good question. Okay.
So what is this made of? Is it,
Okay. Influenzinum, they take a duck and they take the liver from the duck, and believe it or not, ducks carry the flu virus in the off season, in the non-flu season. So they're the carrier. And so on the pod, people say that's terrible, you killed a duck. But the way homeopathy is made, one duck probably makes oscillo for almost the whole world for the winter. So, that's a whole nother debate.
The duck doesn't
But so it comes from the duck.
The duck is sick. The
But
duck doesn't.
The
carries
ducks don't, they carry it, but they don't get the flu. Aren't they lucky? Our emotional intelligence affects our health. Someone who's really stressed is going to get sick. Or how many of you have been under a lot of stress and you did get sick, and the minute the help comes, or you get the week off, the next day you come down with a high fever and you feel terrible. And I don't know about there, but I'm getting warm up here. You're not making me nervous, but I'm gonna turn us down just a little bit.
Yeah,
Get cold, let me know. So that's because our immune system drops. Now another thing, have you ever had anyone that said to you that they feel they're coming down with something and I'm not gonna let myself get sick? And you hear them talking to themselves?
Yeah.
So they're either nuts or worse. There are studies that show positive thinking boosts the immune system and can help you get over something a lot faster. Same thing, poor me, I'm getting sick. What am I gonna do? I'm gonna have to take a week off from work without pay. You're gonna get sick.
Yeah.
Or more sick. So positive thinking doesn't mean go ahead and plan everything, but it really does help. And a lot of times you can talk yourself out of getting sick. Yes?
Is the immune system located in the stomach?
The immune system is located all through the body. There's different, the lymph system is part of, which is all through the body, is part of the immune system. The gut is a big part of the immune system. The good bacteria, the probiotics, give us 60% of our response, our immune system response. So if your gut is a mess, your immune system doesn't really stand a chance. So a healthy gut, very, very important. Okay, anyone, let's see. One thing I hear from people is, I'm not feeling well, I want to get my immune system up, I want to do things, I'm so stressed, I can't line up 8 bottles every day and take 8 different things. So there's always a way to fit your lifestyle to do, not even just with cold and flu, but do whatever you need. This company makes a product called Nutriplenish Immune. The backbone of it is a good multiple vitamin and antioxidant, and then it has other herbs and nutrients to support the immune system. So instead of opening up 4 or 5 bottles, it's all together. So this and a good probiotic is a good backbone for, if you think your immune system's down a little bit, that's a good way to build it up and keep the stress level down. Because that's real important. You don't want to be super stressed trying to get healthier. You want to enjoy getting healthier. So that's very good. How many people have used echinacea? Okay. There was a study by the NIH, and they proved that echinacea is absolutely useless, that it does nothing. But what did they do? There's a couple of different echinacea plants, and you go to any herbal book going back hundreds of years, one of them is effective in humans, this one is not. They spent millions on a study on the one that we already know doesn't work. But they proved echinacea is useless. Do you want to take echinacea every single day? No. That helps stimulate the immune system to respond quicker. But you don't want to stimulate your body. You don't want to have too much caffeine every day. So you want to use that when you need it. When you first feel something coming on, that's when to take it. Yes?
Is that the only thing you have to, like you only should take it when you need it? Is it like golden? Is it golden seal?
Golden seal, again, you can use it for, if you're around a lot of sick people and you run down, you can take a dose a day for that time. But something like the enzyme defense or the viricid can be taken starting now, 1 dose a day right through cold and flu season.
And then stop?
And then stop it, when nobody around you's sick. I always take the enzyme defense. I have a bottle at home, I have a bottle here on my desk, and I haven't started taking it yet because luckily we haven't had a lot of people coming in sick. But it's around that time, November, December, we have the teachers taking it once a day. You just have to take it on an empty stomach, and I'll go into why in a slide or two. But it's really the echinacea and golden seal. We've so overused golden seal, it's now an endangered plant. And so a lot of times through the season, you can't get it because people were hoarding it and they were just using it for any illness, and taking it as a preventative, and it really isn't designed that way. Anyone use reishi mushroom?
How would you know when you said, luckily we haven't seen a lot of people coming in sick, how would you know?
Oh, because here, people come in and sneeze, or what do you have for my cough? And they start coughing. Or, I need something for my kids. They came out, their whole class is sick. So you start hearing it. The flu, because of the weather, really hasn't, it's starting, but it hasn't got ahead of steam yet. But the colds seem to be around.
Oh yeah, the colds are definitely.
Yes?
Could you repeat why you shouldn't take echinacea every day?
Because if you take it every single day, you get used to it and then it doesn't work well. Okay? Think of it, poor example, but if you use acetaminophen for a headache, and it works real well, you take a tablet and the headache's better. Do you take acetaminophen every single day in case you're going to get a headache? No, you use it when you need it. So if you feel you're coming down, or your spouse comes home from work, or your significant other, or one of your kids, and they're getting sick, good time to take it once a day as a preventative. You're being exposed all the time. All the surfaces in the house are, I don't want to all go crazy, but they all are infected. So keep your immune system up and you won't get sick. Anyone use reishi mushroom? Reishi mushroom is phenomenal. It's very good. It's being studied as a cancer preventative, great for the immune system. The reason I have a slide on here with all these different things, what you want to make sure when you get reishi mushroom is it's a little costly, $28 for 90 capsules. It has to be extracted properly. If you don't extract it properly, or you just grind up the mushroom and put it in a capsule, which is dirt cheap, it doesn't work. So the reishi needs to be a hot water extraction. Some of them are some mushrooms need to be an alcohol extraction. Some mushrooms need both to get all the constituents out. So the better companies that do reishi do the hot water, then they grind up the mushroom and they put it all back in the capsule, because we've realized Mother Nature's pretty smart. She doesn't put junk in things that are good for us. All the components, even if we don't know what they're for, they're there for a reason, and it usually works better. So that's reishi. It's excellent. In New England, for some reason, the medicinal mushrooms, never caught on, never got a lot of traction, and they are wonderful. Yes?
How does this medicinal property get into the mushroom? Because you see mushrooms growing on crumbling,
Right.
decayed
And
logs.
they're getting all the nutrients from the decaying material. That's what
You mean the
it's Mother Nature did it. Everything, the circle, what was that, Lion King, the circle of life?
Yeah.
So
Is this medicinal property, is that in the decayed log itself, or
No.
how does it get in?
I don't know. So you'll have a project tonight on the internet, and then you can report back at the next lecture. How's
That's
that?
incredible.
But it's, as the mushroom's growing, it's getting every plant gets the nutrients out of whatever medium it's
Right.
growing in. And different mushrooms extract different things, and they have different medicinal properties.
Yeah, thank you.
You're welcome. Okay, what about little ones? As I said at the beginning, I think it was 5 to 7 colds. Little kids have no they have an immune system, but the immune system isn't programmed yet. They need to be exposed, and they need to get sick, but not very sick. Each time they get a cold, or a little cough, or a nose, blocked nose, the immune system is learning what to do, and they're getting stronger. And so one of the things is, you don't want to keep everyone little babies in a sterile bubble and overwash them and not expose, you don't want to expose them to sick people, but not take them out in public. It's normal to get sick, and it's healthy to get sick. One of the questions that's starting to be asked with all the vaccines we have, how many of us had chicken pox growing up? Okay, I think that's 100%, and we're all still here. How many of us know a child or an adult that died of chicken pox? Okay, it happened, but it's not that many. So now we're giving everyone a vaccine for chicken pox, and they're working on a cold vaccine, and we're vaccinating against everything. And so what's gonna happen when this really rogue bacteria or virus comes by, for all these little kids that have all these vaccines that have never had any, you don't want anyone, this is gonna sound mean, you don't wanna have a serious illness, but we've never challenged their immune system. They're liable to get overwhelmed by that. And how come, and I don't have an answer to this, it's a rhetorical question, how come some people are getting the different antibiotic resistant infections and some people aren't? Who in the hospital is lucky enough to get it? How come? Now granted, you're sick and your immune system's down, but it could be that some people are exposed to it and their immune system identifies this brand new foreign invader and deals with it. And some people, their immune system doesn't. So, we have to really be careful what we're doing to ourselves. So,
Or that kid has a mother who doesn't want to inoculate him,
that doesn't want to inoculate?
so they haven't developed anything.
Yeah, well, but you don't have to get the inoculation just from viruses. You want to get it from being exposed to what's out in the air.
No, I understand.
In the environment. Okay, for kids you have to be careful because kids are great. I love working with kids, especially the little ones. One reason is we haven't screwed them up yet. So they respond to homeopathy and to different things really well, really fast, and they bounce, little kids, they get very sick and they bounce right back. Next thing you know, they're running around, they want to go out. So kids are great. There's a few things that are phenomenal for kids. Which with homeopathy, it's wonderful because it's really the same, just about the same formula for adults and kids. It's not dose related or weight related. There's Tiny Tots cough syrup, which you have in your handout, what the remedies are in it and what it does. But the Tiny Tots cough syrup and the regular cough syrup, Tiny Tots is all homeopathic. It works on the irritation in the throat, the thick mucus. It can be good for a dry cough or a wet cough. It can be good for a deep cough or something, a tickle up in the throat. It's good for adults, it's good for kids. One size fits all. And it tastes pretty good too. The adults complain more than the kids do. So that's because we're used to things being sugary sweet, and it isn't. So that's really good, and we'll go into what's in there in a minute. But there's a lot of things you can do, and when I printed out the handouts, we have a bunch of charts just so you'll have reference to narrow down some choices. And then feel free to call us or email us or stop in, and depending upon the circumstances or the symptoms, we can direct you to the right products. There isn't one product for everyone because nobody's cold is the same. Everyone reacts differently. But there's a Tiny Tots cough syrup. There's a delicious one, Chestol. This is by Boron, the makers of Oscillo. This one is in a honey base, and honey is very medicinal. The only thing is, on newborns, for the first few months, there could be a reaction to honey, so you're not supposed to use this for newborns. This one is labeled from birth on, so this one can be used right out of the hospital. You'll notice when you look at some of the homeopathic products, there's Chestol and Children's Chestol. But I said it's the same formula no matter who it is. The only reason they came up with Children's Chestol, and there's a Children's Oscillo, and there's a Children's Cold Calm, is because parents were afraid to give it to their kids if it didn't say children's formula on it. So you can use children's or adults, it's the exact same formula. Plus, from a marketing point of view, that gets them more shelf space if they have more, units of it. But Chestol is excellent. There's a runny nose. There's one for a raspy cough. Anyone have a baby that had croup? Okay, croup is a lot of fun. But homeopathy is wonderful for croup. There's a remedy, Croup CP, children's potency. And they drops, they taste good, you put them in the mouth. It helps stop that real barking cough. For kids, a lot of times when they get sick, they have a stomach problem too, nausea and vomiting. So there's a nausea and vomiting homeopathic blend also. Okay, Tiny Tots. And on your sheet, and I did this on a few of the formulas, I listed all the different remedies that are in there and some of the things that it works on. And the reason I did that is if someone has a cough, I like going to something like this right away because the right remedy's in there, most likely, and they're gonna feel better instead of sitting down for 20 minutes trying to figure out the single remedy. But as you're going through the slides, if somebody has one of these types of cough or symptoms, that single remedy is probably the one you want, and then you can get the blue tube, the little pellets for that single remedy. So part of this was hopefully as an education into homeopathy. There's going to be about 20 different remedies in your handouts that can help. Yes?
So when do you decide that you have to do, like, check a strep?
Okay.
I work with children and we have to do strips.
Sure. I'll tell you what I do, and this is Gary Kracoff's feeling. One, from the global, if someone has a sore throat, they should it's recommended they go see the pediatrician if it doesn't go away in a day and have a quick strep culture. But a lot of times the quick strep comes up negative, and when they send it out, it comes up positive. So I would say if the sore throat doesn't get better 24 to 48 hours, if it's a sore throat where they can't swallow, where they're really miserable, you go right in. But if it's a little sore throat and they have a runny nose, things are dripping down all night, and that's probably irritating it. The other thing that's interesting is we've had some of our clients that have gone for the quick strep test and it's come out positive. They started, because they stopped taking the probiotics, they started taking probiotics, took some Virusid or Echinacea and Golden Seal, did that, and then went back to the doctor a couple days later, had the regular strep test done, and that came back negative. So the quick one probably wasn't wrong, but their immune system got over it. But you do want, if it doesn't get better, you do want to check it out, because undiagnosed strep can lead to some serious problems down the road.
You get higher fever.
You'll get a fever and it won't go away. The other side is we would generally, and now thank goodness they've stopped it, But anyone with a sore throat got a prescription for an antibiotic in case it's strep. Now we're realizing you want to check, but you don't want to use the antibiotics unless you have strep. Okay.
Excuse me, Gary, are you saying that's for adults as well, or are you talking for kids?
Anybody.
With the strep test?
And if you have a sore throat that doesn't go away, it should be checked. And a lot of times the doctor will look down your throat and say, you don't have strep. You know, it could just be postnasal drip or a bad cold. Or your nose is stuffed and you're breathing through your mouth all night and you don't have a humidifier running, so it's all dry and parched. And that can give you a real bad sore throat. And also, when you get rid of the mucus, if you don't have the right amount of humidity in your house, once the heat's on, if everyone should get a humidistat. You can get them on Amazon for like $5, a digital one. You want to keep your humidity level around 40 to 55%. In the winter time, you can get down to 18 to 20%. That's like the desert. And so while you're breathing all night, you're pulling moisture out. Besides getting dehydrated, and your wooden furniture can start splitting, it also dries out the mucus lining. And that mucus lining is our first line of defense. Viruses enter through the mucus, the nasal and the throat. And so when the mucus is gone, you're wide open to a virus. So you want to keep the humidity level up. The flip side is you have to clean it, because you're going to have a lot of bacteria growing or mold growing. A lot of people will let it go the whole winter and throw it out at the end of the season. They're better off having it be dry, because you're blowing all this crud into the air.
How do you clean them properly?
Depends upon what type it is. If it's a ultrasonic one, you can put some vinegar in there, white vinegar, and that dissolves all the scaling, and then you can just wash it out with a sponge and rinse it out well. You want to rinse the tank out. If it's one of the wicking ones, it's really a good idea. One, in this area, we have harder water. So the filter starts getting hard because it's absorbing and concentrating the minerals. So when it starts getting hard in the lower third, for $9, put another filter in. So generally, depending upon your house and your water, every 3 weeks to a month, you should replace the filter. And once a week, sponge and soap and just soap it up and rinse it out. It really isn't hard. It's just like you wouldn't leave water in a pan sitting there for a month. You would wash the pan out. So just wash the humidifier.
Are you talking to say it's a humidifier?
Yeah, yeah, humidifier.
Where do you get a humidifier for $5?
No, the filter.
Oh.
Oh, I'm sorry, the humidistat to measure humidity in the air.
Oh.
They have them, $5, $6 on Amazon. And if you have Amazon Prime, it's free shipping for $99.
I was
Yes.
wondering about they have those like essential oil blower things that
Yeah.
also are dual for like humidity. Is that like something you should be concerned if it turns into be like too humid, if you had some sort of mold growth in the past, you have to be concerned with that?
You don't want it. That's why you want to have something to measure the humidity. The better units, not so much for the essential oils, because they only hold a little bit of water.
Yeah.
Okay, they don't have a 10-gallon tank. But the good humidifiers, you can adjust the level so they go on and off. When the humidity level drops, it goes on. When it hits, if you have it set for 50%, it shuts off. But you don't want water on your windows and on the walls, because then you're going to grow mold everywhere. So you fix one problem and create another. Okay, I have a list of products for adults. Realistically, kids could use these too, but a lot of the homeopathics have alcohol in them for adults. The kids are alcohol free. So right now, you have all this in your slides. I'm just going to run down a few of the products just so you can see there's something for everyone, depending upon what you like. There's probiotics down this end. These are all refrigerated probiotics. This time of year, you really don't have to worry. It's usually the high heat for long periods of time. What I recommend on the refrigerated one, they're lovely, delicate, living bacteria, good bacteria. Keep them in the refrigerator. I use a pill tray for a week, and I put a week's worth out, even in the summer, to make it easy, because I'm a guy, I don't remember, I'm in the refrigerator every morning, but I don't remember to take one out. So I put them out. There are non-refrigerated ones that are good. There are non-refrigerated ones that there's nothing much in there. Ortho makes a very good one. I like this one, especially if you're doing a lot of traveling, because it's a lot easier and you won't forget it in the refrigerator at the hotel.
What is that one?
It's orthobiotic. You want it to be a multi-strain, having at least 5 to 8 billion, up to 30, 40 billion organisms. I talked about enzyme defense, and I'll be showing a slide in a minute. This is taking one capsule, the extra strength, one a day as maintenance. And if you get sick, you can take it up to 3 times a day. This is all enzymes. It's catalase, eucalase, protease, and those enzymes, believe it or not, we produce those enzymes. Nature planned on us eating the food that has all the enzymes we need to digest it. So those enzymes that we're making, we were releasing into the bloodstream, and they work with our white blood cells. White blood cells identify invading organisms, and they release these enzymes which start eating holes in the cell or the coating on the virus or the bacteria, and then they die. But what's happening is we don't have enough enzymes in our food because we're not eating fresh picked food and we're microwaving it, we're eating prepared food. So our body is using a lot of our enzymes because they also, if they're with food, they can be used as digestive enzymes. So basically our immune system, part of our immune system is firing blanks. So all this is doing is rearming those white blood cells. If you get sick, you can take it 2 or 3 times a day. The downside of this, since it will help digest food, you have to take it half hour before you eat or at least 2 hours after you eat. Otherwise, you lose a lot of the benefit from it. It'll still work somewhat, but not as well. So I take this at around bedtime, and that stops me from snacking at night. You know, at least for 2 hours before
So
bed.
it's twofold with the enzymes. If you take it with food, it's gonna digest your food.
Right.
If you take it.
And if you're going to take it with food, there are better blends with different numbers, amounts of different enzymes for food. This one's really formulated to dissolve mucus.
So take it without
and
food.
correct.
What's the name of that again, please?
Enzyme defense, and it's on, I think, the next to the last slide. It's in there. I try to make it as easy as possible for
And the
it.
best time to take that is at night rather than in the morning.
Well, anytime you're not going to be eating for a while. And I love to eat, so, you know, when I'm sleeping, as far as I know, I'm not. Which Kennedy was that was sleepwalking? But, one of the Kennedys, he was on Ambien, driving around as well, I guess they all drive around there on Ambien. Another enzyme is mucostop. This is only if you're really mucousy, and the enzymes in here digest mucus in the upper and lower respiratory system. So Mucinex is on the market. That's guaifenesin, and it's a high dose. A lot of people find that upsets their stomach when they get up to the therapeutic dose. This one gets in there, and all the way down, it helps liquefy the mucus so you can cough it up, sneeze it out, or get rid of it. And so that's very helpful, but this is only when you are sick. Yes?
Also mucus from allergies.
Yeah, any mucus from anything. Now, it won't make the allergy go away, but it'll help get the mucus flowing.
Is there a significance to the color of the mucus, whether it's green, yellow, or clear, whether it's viral, bacterial, or fungal?
I'll say no, but usually if there is a deep color to it, the yellow or the green, there is the beginning of an infection. If you don't have an infection, it might be white or it might have a little hue to it, but it shouldn't be that thick colored ropey mucus.
This product on empty stomach as well?
Pardon me?
This product on empty stomach
Yes.
as well?
Yeah, because it's an enzyme.
And what's the name of that again?
Mucostop. All right, now let me change because I have a slide. Okay, there's a product, cold and flu comp, which I think I forgot it upstairs. That's a blend, and what's interesting on this, if you don't really know what your symptoms are going to be, and you want to have something in the house for when you get sick, cold and flu comp, it's an herbal blend, and as you go through, it's in your handouts, as you go through the different herbs that are in there, it covers most symptoms. The aches and pains, the thick mucus, the thin mucus, the tickle in the throat, the deep dry cough, the deep juicy cough. So it's really a natural shotgun method. And so that's a good thing to have around, so 2 in the morning you wake up, you don't have to start saying, geez, I have all my flu stuff, I don't have things for cold, and this is a cold, or vice versa. That will cover you. So that's a good one. Wholemune. Anyone here of beta-glucan? Beta-glucan has been around, or we've been talking about it for a long time. It's finally has the scientific studies behind it, and it's got a lot of traction. And this is once a day. This is for people who are run down, who are stressed, and who are vulnerable to getting sick. So that's the formula of it. And what it does is it gets absorbed from the digestive tract. And I have just a 30-second video, and it shows you what it does. But it goes into the bloodstream, and it helps the attacking cells in our immune system to identify and kill invading organisms. And it's double-blind, and I have some of the studies, clinical studies. Does everyone need to take Wholemune or beta-glucan? Can't hurt, very good. They're doing studies on cancer with it, cold and flu, and all that. But generally, I recommend this to people who are run down, or people who are really stressed. A lot of the kids, one of the studies is on med students, because they're working, 60-hour shifts and all that. So they're run down and they're exposed.
So what's that product called?
Wholemune.
Wholemune.
Yeah.
Sell here in the store?
Yes,
Sell all those products.
Yes, we do.
Once swallowed, Wellmune WGP is taken up into the body through specialized immune tissue in the small intestines. There, immune cells engulf Wellmune WGP and degrade it into smaller fragments that bind to neutrophils, which are the most abundant immune cell in the body. In fact, neutrophils account for 60 to 70% of all white blood cells. Primed with Wellmune WGP, neutrophils more effectively circulate throughout the body and kill foreign challenges.
Short and to the point. So we digest it, one of the cells absorbs it and brings it throughout the whole body and breaks it down into smaller pieces. Then it releases it, and the neutrophils, which really do the work, absorb it, and it helps them do their job. So it's something that you take once a day, and it can help your immune system. So this was one study, and this one's sort of a little off the beaten track. It was people who were fighting cancer. So their immune system is very low. So they looked at echinacea and different MGN3, which is another immune system product. The top one, the WGP, which is the top one, it showed we'll say the survival rate, the people who didn't get sick from cold and flu and different infections. Now a better study, this was a 12-week study using med students that were very stressed, and it was at that point when they did the study with all these med students, there were an awful lot of upper respiratory infections going through everybody. And the med students don't get to sleep, and they don't get to eat, and they work real hard. So they're a good group to study the immune system being compromised. So the 12 weeks, half the people got one Wellmune a day, the other half got a placebo. And what they found, they used 122 moderately stressed subjects, 90 women and 32 men. They found the red is the number of cases of upper respiratory infections. Well, they both are. Red is people on Wholemune, blue is people who had the placebo. And if you look at 4 weeks, the Wellmune was a little bit better. They were a little healthier. At 8 weeks, it was even more, a bigger delta. But at 12 weeks, the placebo group started getting more and more people getting sick, and the people on Wellmune, fewer of them were getting sick. So if you look at it, the Wellmune really did do something.
Gary, the other one you mentioned, also sort of similar to Wholemune.
The MGN3?
Is that what it was?
Yeah, no, that's totally different substance.
Oh, okay.
But it's used for immune support. So what they really showed was there was a 22% reduction in the total number of days out of that 122 days of people being sick that took Wellmune. And their lifestyle didn't change during this period. They were still stressed. So if you're stressed and always getting sick or always coming down with something, Wellmune is good. The virus that I mentioned earlier, this one, and you can, I don't know if I have, yeah, the formula is in your slides. This one you can take one capsule once a day with or without food as maintenance through cold and flu season. If you get sick, it's labeled to take 2 capsules every hour for 6 doses, for 6 hours. Most people, if they start using this right at the beginning, it heads it off and you come out of it. If you do get sick, you can take 2 capsules 3 times a day, after that loading dose. And this has some of the things that are in airborne, and then some of the things that you probably use. So it has vitamin A, C, B12, pantothenic acid, and zinc glycinate. It also has astragalus, black elderberry, andrographis, echinacea, lysine, and acerola. So it's a really thought out formula. It's not mega doses of anything, and very effective. So we have a lot of people that use the enzyme defense, but a lot of them say, I can never find a time where I'm not eating for an hour. And so Virucid's good. And Virus is good anyway, but
Sorry,
yes.
That's not the Wellmune.
No, now we're on to Virucid. Wellmune is 1 a day if you're stressed and your immune system is getting run down.
No, this product you're just talking about.
That's as a preventative. If you're,
What's the name of it?
it's Virucid, and that's there's a slide on it. Okay, so what do you need to do? How do you know what you want and what you should take? This is just some of the products we have. There's something here for croup, an earache, runny nose, fever, inflammation, cough, cold. Oh, I did have cold and flu cough. I need my glasses checked. Someone's constantly getting viral infections. There's a homeopathic blend, Viral HP. Very, very good at helping with recurrent viral infections. The reishi mushroom. There's urban moonshine, makes an immune tonic, which is great if you like the herbal products. Some people don't like homeopathy, some people don't like herbal products. Something for everyone. There's Immune Zoom, which will warm you right up. It has a good dose of alcohol in it, but this is for the first response. When you first start feeling when you first start feeling you're coming down with something, you can take the Immune Zoom. There's also an herbal cough syrup. There's homeopathic cough syrups, herbal cough syrups. This one is a combination of herbal and homeopathic. So I'm not trying to confuse you, and I probably am, but there's something for everybody, and there's no right answer. There could be some wrong things to try if it's the wrong product, but it doesn't matter which way you go. It's what you're comfortable with and what you need, and that's where you have to ask yourself some questions. Are you doing something to prevent getting sick or to treat symptoms? What symptoms do you have? When did it begin? What are your main complaints? And are you on any prescription medicine? I hear often, oh, it's natural, so it can't hurt me. Anything, water can hurt you, you can drown, but we'll die without it.
Snake venom.
Yep, snake venom. So you need to talk to someone, especially if you're on medication, to make sure. In general, homeopathics don't interfere with any prescription medicine, but still you should check. Some herbal products can affect blood pressure, glaucoma. If you're on Coumadin, or warfarin, a blood thinner, you have to be careful. If you're on stimulants or antidepressants, so always check with us.
I noticed, it seems like there might be one thing missing. Like I didn't notice liposomal vitamin C. I didn't know if there was a reason why.
I didn't even bring vitamin C down here, but vitamin C is excellent. Now a lot of people absorb vitamin C very well and they don't need liposomal. Some people don't absorb it well, and liposomal means it gets absorbed through the skin or the mucous membrane much better. So this isn't everything, this is just a sample. Yes?
Now, I saw a product that, this has some bearing on the topic tonight. It's a product to treat lung cancer, but by bolstering the immune system.
Yeah, they're doing.
Take it, but one of the side effects is that it can promote the development of autoimmune disease.
Yeah.
And what about these other
Well, we're sort
products?
of drifting. That's a little outside of the scope. But what they're doing now, which is very exciting, they're doing a lot of research on how can we support the immune system to go after different diseases. And we'll eventually figure that out, and that will be real helpful, because that's what we're talking about. Nature gave us this wonderful machine that wants to be healthy, and a lot of times we were really tearing it down. Now we're realizing, what can I do to help my body do what it should be doing, and let me help it. And so, a wonderful machine.
The autoimmune diseases are caused by the immune system
Over-responding. Yep, you're right. Okay, so I put a chart there, just sort of narrowing down, just quick reference, kids, adults, teenagers. This isn't all inclusive, it's just the beginning of a guide. So if you have any questions, you can call up and say, I have these symptoms, I'm thinking of taking this. Because sometimes it's hard to ask a question if you don't have enough information, because you don't even know what to ask. Okay, nasal sprays. Anyone remember, you don't see them that often now, Dristan, and there was Duration, and Afrin, and all those. They were phenomenal products. They were on prescription, then came off. They work, but the problem with them are that there's a rebound. It forces things open, and then when it wears off, the body was trying to do something, it slams shut, and you get hooked on it. And Shering made Afrin, and when it went over the counter, they were probably thrilled with the addictive potential of it, because you're supposed to use it every 12 hours, and people got to a point where they were using it every 4 hours, and you couldn't stop using it. Because if you did, you were talking like this, and you couldn't breathe at all. So, is there a spot for that? I'll say yes. Now we took some of the steroid sprays, and they're available without a prescription. And the steroids shut down the immune system and force it open. And so it can help, but then it stops working because the body's trying to do something, you're pushing it back, and eventually the body overrides the drug, or the cortisone. So, the cute little thing here, nasal spray with addictive ingredients, dramatically narrows the blood vessels, which opens it up so you can breathe. The congestion's better, the effects wear off, the dam opens up, the blood vessels fill up again, tissue swells in your clothes, and what do? You spray it again. And it works, but you can't do that forever. And most of us, if you ask people, well, I'm 60, so my age or older, they'll know somebody that was addicted to Afrin or to one of those sprays. And eventually it can damage the tissues. So what do? We have, which I didn't bring, but we have upstairs, a homeopathic nasal spray. And when you have time, I'm not going to go through all the ingredients. This can be used from little kids right through seniors. If you have high blood pressure or glaucoma, it's safe. It's a spray in each nostril 4 to 6 times a day. And most people find within the first couple of doses, they either have some draining coming out the nose or down the throat. So it really starts working fast, because what these remedies do is help thin the mucus and help soothe the inflamed tissue, not block the blood vessels so it opens up. It helps calm it down, so that way things can run out. And if things run out, you have less irritation. So it can be used chronically for a long time. People with allergies in the summer, that are snoring at night, having trouble breathing while you're doing your allergy treatment, hopefully a holistic one, this can be very helpful. It can be used on and off through the winter as you need it. It's in a normal saline base, so it moisturizes too. So again, you want to help the body do what it's doing. If you're all inflamed, the body's going to make more mucus to try to soothe it. And then if it's inflamed, the mucus can't get out. So the deeper sinuses start filling up with mucus. And mucus is a great food for bacteria. And that's why a lot of people have those real deep sinus infections, because bacteria is having a party
So is that
in there.
for post-nasal drip? A lot of
Yeah.
What about a neti pot?